Mr. Halim, thank you for taking time. Can you please introduce yourself and your company?
Okay, I'm Yandramin Halim, call me Ming. I've been working and also acting as a partner for Faber-Castell in Indonesia for about 30 over years. So Faber-Castell is a company from Germany in Nuremberg, and then it has a history about 261 years back there. It is now under 9 generations, so and then at the same business category.
That's a long history.
It is one of the longest, let's say, company that survive and then still stay at the same industry. I think maybe in the world.
Yes, and the humble pencil.
Yeah,
with such a legacy.
Pencils.
Yes, yes. So for such a company with such a legacy, and you have mentioned that the operations span 22 countries.
Yeah.
So how do you embed a stewardship purpose across geographical locations?
I start to work and then the partnership with Faber-Castell with the 8th generation. So the 8th generation is, I think, he's one of, let's say, the most visionaries also in our history. And then he's involved in, let's say, recruitment of the leaders of the country or picking up partners. And then one thing which interested me is when he's, let's say, taking in people, he views not only the quality of people, let's say, how much you can perform and so on, but it's really on the value. He always call it, let's say, how patient he is or she is. And then patient means that patience in the industry, that you like really the industry. Patient in the company, let's say, you like the companies. And most important is also patient on the values. The values that we want to, let's say, keeping up in our operation, during our operation of our business.
That's amazing.
So he has been spending a lot of time. He passed away in 2016, but he's really spent a lot of his time in preaching this kind of value to all of our colleagues around the world. So then we start to institutionalize these values. We call it, let's say, let's find what is the DNA of our company, that our company can survive, let's say, 2 world wars, these depressions and so on. So we try to find what DNA make our company survive and thrive and grow further. And then we start to identify that value. We call it essentials. So essentials. So that's why we try to develop what we call corporate essentials. There are values in our groups or companies that, it doesn't matter how you perform, this is some absolute things that you can't breach, that you have to go within this corridor, put it that way. And then lately, because the 9th generation is not actively managing the company, the 9th generation is sitting in the supervisory board. So now we have a professional running the executive board. So the executive board also start to compress few values into what we call leadership essentials. This leadership essential consists of, let's say, entrepreneurships and then inspiring, resilience, authentic, developing people, for example. These are all the essentials that we need and then we require not only from the top leader of the country, but from every layers of the department in our organization to the shop floor in the factories. So that means everyone must embrace this value to ensure that our company can sustain another maybe 260 years. We always say that every generation we don't want to be the last generation. So that's why it's an obligation of all of us to make sure that the baton is handed over properly to the next generation, especially that related to the value of our companies that make us like today.
So what are some of the challenges that the company face in trying to balance profit and purpose?
Yes, I mean the main challenge is always the cost, because what we are doing for the good purpose, I mean, is always more expensive. Whether if you install a solar panel, the ROI of solar panel is much longer than the normal machinery. If you want to buy, let's say, renewable electricity is 20-30% more expensive than the normal one. And then if you even, it's very interesting, let's say, if you want to go for recyclable plastics, now the recyclable plastic cost can be more expensive than the original plastic. Why? Because a lot of companies want to jump to the wagons and that surge the demand without any, let's say, efforts from the supply side to balance it. So it is expensive, but again, in our principle, we have this principle called that change needs creativity. So our vision is to unleash creative potential. We ourselves has to be creative. That means we must work very hard to find a solution about new solution for whether is how to make, let's say, we are more efficient in electricity usage, and then we have to look for ways how to use, let's say, alternative plastics. And then the other way is actually that we need also to communicate to our, let's say, trade partners, to our consumers, to the society, that don't look only on the products. The values of the, let's say, the purpose, how to make the product, should be also viewed as additional value of the product. That when you use the products, you don't have any, let's say, debt for the future generation, because when you consume the products, you're destroying some of the resources that's supposed to be allocated for the next generation. So that are the challenge, but I think with the creativity, we can find the solutions. And then with the solution, we also have to communicate it to our consumer, so that the bigger the society adopt the same purpose, the easier for us to implement the purpose itself. I'll give an example. These whiteboard markers are actually produced using plastic collected from the ocean in Indonesia. We have not put the plastic in the mass production yet, but it is still in the research. But the plastic itself needs a lot of, let's say, reworking, processing, because we have, again, we have also a quality standard.
Yes.
That becomes, let's say, the trademark of our brand, Faber-Castell. And then we have to change our equipment, and that needs a lot of investment as well, without even knowing that it will work. So there's risk-taking is part of also the challenges that we need to manage in order to be able to grow the company, but still, maintaining in the corridor where the purpose will be achieved. That is for the betterment of the society, for the future generation, and then taking care of the Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm. And that seems to be working well. The company is profitable and still abiding by its purpose.
Yes. There's also the only thing that you need to be creative. You need to work harder to find new solutions and to find ways in order to, let's say, reduce costs at the other part, in order to compensate the higher costs for the better sake of humanity in the future.
So what are some of the learnings or advice that you can share with business leaders who are in the same journey as you?
Yeah, what we can share is actually, once you decide to take the path, you have to walk through it. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter what kind of, let's say, challenges that you face. I know it is not an easy one, but on the other hand, it is also a competitive advantage that not every competitor can copy you. So, but one thing that will be interesting is when you feel that success is totally different. You can't describe it with words. So it is a kind of success that long-term, the success which will stay for a much longer time compared to the ordinary success that you win the competition by other means. I would suggest, let's say, once you decide you want to go that path, really focus on that, be persistent, and put the whole energy on that, and you'll be successful, like us.
Thank you. Okay, so Faber-Castell has been a pioneer in employee benefits, and that dates back to the 1800s in Germany. Yeah. So bringing that business model into Asia, did you face any challenges? How difficult it is, or how easy is it to implement similar working models in Asia?
As I mentioned before, the 8th generation was very visionary. So in March year 2000, he, with the IG trade, let's say, union in Germany, ratified an agreement. that we, Faber-Castell, voluntarily committed to ensure all subsidiaries in the world, it doesn't matter where it's located, it will comply to the working recommendation and term of employment by international labor organizations. So that means every company and factories of Faber-Castell, it doesn't matter where it's located, will comply to the working condition, minimum working condition required by international labor organization. And of course, afterwards, it comes a regular audit. The audit will come from the German trade union, involving the regional union as well and local union. And then it moves from one country to another. So we must prepare ourselves since it's already in the values that we are, embracing. So it's not a big problem for us, but it could, we face some problem, let's say, in the country in order to implement that. For example, in certain countries, which I don't need to mention where it is, for example, we have problems in order to, let's say, institute a same payment for both gender. So some of them are, let's say, raising the voice and say it can't be, it's not a custom here. Or let's say we want to put, let's say, equal opportunity, not looking at, the background of the religion, the race, and so on. Sometimes they refuse a leader from a different kind of a background with them. So, and that's again, you need to work a bit further in order to explain to them, in order to rally them that this is for the good cause for all. So this is an extra mile of work that we need always to put in if we want to make the company, let's say, a good performance, but also achieving the purpose that we believe in.
That's brilliant. How does Faber-Castell remains innovative? I think digital economy is moving at a very rapid pace. So how do you keep up with that innovative journey? And how do you intend to, what's your plans for the future? I mean, given the fact that the company has a long legacy of 260 years, what's the next 260 years going to look like?
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of questions that we have, let's say, can our pencil company survive in the internet age? Yes, we may, let's say, see some, let's say, drop of demands for the pencil in the office where people are using notebook, and more computer, less writing with hands. But we also believe that if you have children, you will not agree, let's say, to expose your children whole time only with digital equipment. Yeah. You want them to, let's say, hold the pencils, hold the color disc, and then feel the colors. This is something that it can't be replaced by digital yet. I try to be cautious with that. So, the feeling, that holding the pencil and then putting the colors on the disc is totally different with, if you put it on digital on the monitors. So it is a different disc. And then a few years ago, we have, let's say, what we call a trend called coloring for relaxation. That adults are, let's say, going back and then do coloring because we found that, they experienced that through coloring, actually, they find a lot of relaxing this experience. So this is another thing, in digital age, what do you have? Stress, right? Then relax it, loosen up with our color pencil. You have to use Faber-Castell because otherwise you have problem with the quality in coloring and you might face some problem as well. And then the other thing is what we are looking for is also, let's say, population are growing also in age. So we'll see a lot of proportion in the older age population. And that's, again, pencils can help because if you use a lot of, let's say, activities that are related to coloring, writing, it helps to maintain the sharpness of your mind. So if you don't want to get dementia, pick up Faber-Castell color pencil or graphite pencil, start to write.
That's great advertising.
Yeah. No, it's true actually. It's a trend now that also our senior fellow start to pick up coloring as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw the trend as well in Singapore.
Yes. Yeah. I think this is also a part of mental health awareness in the fact that,
yes,
you should, if you want to drop your gadget,
yeah,
and just go, organic in a sense. It's just the pencil and a paper.
Yeah, and that's why, for example, in a lot of countries in Faber-Castell, we also try to, because we know from a long history, we know that art activities, art-making activities, is not only for artistic purpose. It has a lot of other intrinsic benefits which less communicated. For example, coloring can, let's say, increase any age of the art maker's observation skill. Why a cartoonist, can draw someone, and then you can immediately recognize this is Mr. X, because they manage to pick up. They are very observant. They manage to pick up certain things that make that person a very unique shape. So what make a duck a duck? They can draw simply, but you say this is a duck, because they manage to pick up the uniqueness of a duck. So, and that observation skill applied for all. You want to be a doctor, you must be very observant. You want to be a journalist, you must be very observant of what is happening in a society. And then you want to be a businessman, especially. You want to tap on a new opportunity, you must be observant. So that is only one of the skills that art making can offer. There are a lot of other skills as well. So art is not only for the sake of art. Art can be also beneficial for other mental skill development. And that is what we are preaching, and then what we are telling to our consumer. We are introducing a different kind of art, a creative drawing art. It's not drawing just for the beauty of the drawing, but it is a drawing that really, the activities can help you to develop a certain kind of mental abilities and skills. And that's with that we say that you will be forever green. You need that, because creativity is one of the skills that needed in the coming, let's say, decades.
Yeah, yes. Coming decades, that's true. Yeah. Rajiv mentioned in the conference about Faber-Castell having one of the most expensive pencil or coloring pencil in the hundreds of...
Yeah, that's a pencil.
It's pencil?
Yeah, that's pencil.
Could you tell us a bit more about that most expensive coloring pencil?
The pencil was made when we have 250 years anniversary. That was around 10, 12 years ago. So that is a perfect pencil. We call it a perfect pencil. The pencil where, what makes pencil perfect? So we have erasers on it that you can erase. I mean, human make mistake. We tolerate it. We understand that. We put a eraser on it, and then we have a sharpener on it. The sharpener on the cap of the pencil, and you can normally with a pencil it's difficult to put it on the pocket. We have a very nice cap with 3 diamonds on the top. That when you put on the pencils, you have the persona. You have the perfect tools for writing and to pour your creative idea on the paper.
Thank you for that.